does the magic of the foil boat method and brisket transfer to some St. Louis ribs? Today, we're gonna find out. Hey, I'm James from Smoking Dad Barbecue, and we already have learned a couple of key things that will help elevate your game when cooking on a Kamado style grill like the Kamado Joe Classic 3 behind me. And that one, hotter and faster is better. There is no denying it. I've done ribs head to head, pulled pork head to head, brisket head to head, and every single time there's just more flavor that comes in hotter and faster. And why is that? Well, when you have a very energy efficient grill like the Kamado Joe is at really low temperature, sort of in that 200 to 220 degrees Fahrenheit range, which might be fine for an offset, you're just not getting enough clean burning fire to compete with the flavor and the texture and the smoke profile that you get at 250, 270 degrees plus, where you're getting that clean combustion burning. We've also learned a couple of other things, and I did this recently with a brisket, where if we can increase that temperature above what I'm used to at 270 degrees to 300, 330 degrees, and use the double indirect method, which is both the SloRoller as well as the heat deflector plates, that allows me to protect the bottom and run my grill at even hotter temperatures, that the result is amazing. When I did this on the brisket, it was hands down the best brisket that I've ever cooked on a ceramic style grill. And it sort of solved all of these problems. It allowed us to run our grill hot, not overcook the bottom, properly render the top. But in order to not burn the bottom, we had to do the foil boat method. And this is something that I've discovered earlier this year. I did it the first time on my Kettle Joe. I've done a number of brisket and cooks with it since, and it's turned out amazing. But something that I haven't seen talked about a lot is foil boats in anything other than a brisket. And ribs have the same problem, which is they like that higher heat, but you don't want to overcook the bottom. In the past, what I've done is I've done a 3-hour rib cook where I end up just wrapping them in foil, and you guys were quick to let me know what you think about wrapped ribs. And so based off of some of the comments in that last video, I thought, why not try bringing the best of brisket and the foil boat method, the double indirect method with the SloRoller and the heat deflectors, and apply them to our St. Louis rib cook. Can we cook these ribs hot and fast without wrapping them using the foil boat method in order to turn out a superior rib? Well, today we are about to find out. So if you haven't had a chance yet to see that brisket video where I did the double indirect method, let me quickly explain how we're going to set up for today's cook. Like always, I want to add 2 to 3 pieces of smoking wood on the bottom of my charcoal grate and bury them with some fresh charcoal. I would like to run about a 90 to 95% charcoal to wood ratio so that I get nice clean smoke, as well as not having, temperature control problems where if you have too much wood, it can choke itself out from the fire control, and then all of a sudden when that wood combusts, it can drive your temperatures up. So once I've got my charcoal ready to light, I use my grill torch to start a fire nice and centered so that we get up to temperature nice and quickly. And all I'm going to do is install the base of the SloRoller and wait until the dome passes the hand test. That just means that our dome is heat soaked, and we're going to be able to take advantage of all 3 heat sources that a Kamado style grill offers. First, we're going to get our conduction, which is our ribs sitting on a grill, and that's what I'm trying to limit with the double indirect method. Then we're going to get the convection method, which is hot, smoky air moving throughout the grill, which is what I'm trying to amplify with the double indirect method by allowing that fire to burn even hotter without any consequences of overdoing our bottom. And the third and the magical heat source that you get on the Kamado style grill is that radiant convection, the radiant heat itself, which is just that dome heat soaked, which is going to be radiating some of that heat down into our ribs and helping cook them really, really evenly. So once our grill is up to temperature, we're going to install the top of the SloRoller. I'm using the X accessory ring to have an air gap from the top of the SloRoller to my second level on the divide and conquer rack. That's where I'm going to put my heat deflector plates. And on top of my heat deflector plates, I'm just putting a drip pan. The drip pan here I'm using is just a pizza pan covered in foil. Since my smokeware pans, they have a little bit more height and depth to them in order to hold even more, but there's not enough space between the heat deflector plates and the cooking grid. So I'm just using a ghetto pizza tray wrapped with some aluminum foil as my drip tray, install my grids, and again, wait till everything stabilizes until I see close to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. While we're waiting for the grill to stabilize, this is the perfect time to trim up and prepare our St. Louis cut ribs. Pick these up at Costco and they look great in terms of the marbling and the trim on them. So I don't have a lot of work to do here. So like normal, I'm just gonna remove them from the package, pat them dry with some paper towels so that they don't have that excess moisture on them, and then using a butter knife, find the membrane on the back and a paper towel so I can just peel that off and be able to get my seasoning right onto the ribs. Now, I normally like to use a bit of a binder, something like some hot sauce, maybe some hot sauce mixed with some mayo, or hot sauce mixed with some mustard. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do, but while I was at Costco, they had this jalapeno aioli, and it has been working as a great binder for cooks just like this, where you're getting some of that fat content, some of that spice, and I don't need to pre-make anything. So that's what I went with today. But if you have some Frank's Red Hot and maybe some mayo, you could mix that, or some mustard and some Frank's Red Hot, you can get the exact same result, just mixing a little bit of that in a container, and just put a couple little drops on top and bottom so you get that smear, giving our rub something to adhere to. For the rub, I'm going Texas style for our St. Louis ribs today, and that just means salt and pepper. So I'm doing 2 tablespoons of fresh black pepper and then 2 tablespoons of salt. I did 1 tablespoon of my favorite Diamond Kosher Crystal Salt and 1 tablespoon of Lowry's just to get a little bit more flavor. So we're 2 and 2. Mix that up in a container and we are ready to apply our seasoning and let that hang out at room temperature until our grill is up to temperature and reading 300 to 330 degrees Fahrenheit on the dome. So once our grill is up to temperature, I'm just going to throw these on directly above my drip pan and let them hang out for 2 hours. That's it. There's nothing we have to do until that 2-hour mark comes up, at which point I'm going to get 2 pieces of tin foil, pull them off, and start to make my foil boat. I want to wrap around the edges as tightly as possible so that it's acting like a sweater or a warm blanket, which is going to help accelerate our cook. And the advantage here of the foil boat, or the theory at least, is it's going to leave the top side of our Texas style St. Louis ribs exposed to that smoke and heat so that bark will continue to form while we protect our bottom from being overdone. Once I've got the foil boat ribs back on the grill, I'm estimating this should take about another hour or so. I'm just at the 50-minute mark, so let me bring the camera nice and close. We'll check the temperatures and see if we're ready to pull them off. 201. I think these St. Louis ribs are done. I'm just going to go grab some sauce. I'm going to sauce one of these racks for the kids. I'm going to leave the other one dry so we compare some sauce ribs versus some dry ribs, which I prefer, and I'll rejoin you in a couple minutes. Okay, these are off and they look and smell amazing. I'm having a hard time imagining a scenario where these don't taste amazing, but let's dig into them and find out if our hunch is correct. I'll bring the camera nice and close while we slice these up. So the bone pull on these you'll see in a second once we get them out, and the feel is just like butter. Let's start with our sauced ribs here. Get them onto our cutting board. So, able to hang together under its own weight, so that's good, so we're not overcooked. Let's slice one of these out. Oh, gorgeous, juicy smoke ring. I'm going to set this aside. Move these. Let's check our dry rub ribs. So again, we're able to hold the rack under its own weight. It's just dripping with juice. Let's go and cut one out of the center here as well. Wow. Perfect smoke ring. Feels amazing. Just before I zoom the camera out, we'll just take some of these fat drippings that we have and just pour them over so we don't lose any of that flavor. All right, my favorite part of the night. Let's start with our taste test. I'm gonna start with our dry rub rib and then try our sauced rib. Go in for a bite here. Looks amazing. Hold it so you can see the, whoo, it's hot, dropped it. Hold it so you can see the bark. It doesn't get, I haven't cooked a rib better than that. That is phenomenal. Not just in tenderness, that flavor, salt and pepper. I'm a big fan of this dry rib. Okay, let's go in for number 2 here, our sauced rib. Go for a bite. Oh my goodness. Wow. Holy smokes, we're onto something. Whew, that is good. Wow, all I can say is just wow. So that double indirect method is absolutely coming through just as effectively on the St. Louis, Texas style side ribs as it did on our brisket. Big fan of that. Just the clean smoke is something I can't explain. I've just never had smoke that good off of a Kamado style grill. So this is something I can't believe it's taken me this many years to discover, but the impact of that tastes amazing. And the foil boat here, just like our brisket, we're not getting any overdoneness in terms of just crunchy, dried out, tough chew. All I'm getting is our smoke profile and our seasoning, and it's tender, just as tender on the bottom as it is on the top, and it's perfect bite through tenderness. So that's about as long as I can wait before digging into some more of these ribs. They're absolutely incredible. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please let YouTube know by smashing that thumbs up button, and let me know by hitting subscribe to catch future videos. Until next time, I'm James from Smoking Dad Barbecue, signing off.